Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by PewSitter.com, your online Catholic newspaper for the third millennium, CatholicMediaCoalition.org, in line with the Church, online with the world.
And TheAmericanCatholic.com, politics and culture from a Catholic perspective.
Hello and welcome to today's edition of Catholic News Roundup. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Russian boom or bust? Reversing years of abortion law in the Eastern European country could bring about a baby boom or bust. The latest abortion legislation in the country limits abortions to before 12 weeks of pregnancy, unless a mother says she can't afford her baby, and then her window of time for a legal abortion expands to 22 weeks. The Associated Press reports Russia's government ignored pleas from the Russian Orthodox Church to include even tighter restrictions, like a father's permission for his wife to abort their child or parental permission for a minor to kill her baby. The country blames its shocking decrease in population on rampant alcoholism, bad diet, and lack of exercise, though it is reported that the Russians have used abortion as pretty much their only method of family planning, since condoms are scarce and known to be faulty when used. The Russian population has fallen by almost 6 million in the past 20 years. CAIRing Terrorists. The terrorist-linked Council for American Islamic Relations, also known as CAIR, joined the Occupy Wall Street movement over the weekend for Jummah prayer. You may remember that CAIR is a Muslim organization immersed in questionable financial practices, leading the FBI to blacklist them as having possible ties with Hamas jihadist groups. An official invitation issued by the Islamic group asked members to show, quote, solidarity with the 99% by attending the prayer service, which is supposed to, quote, expand the role of U.S. Muslims in the Occupy movement, end quote. Following the prayer service, an imam gave a talk on social justice in Islam. This event takes place not even 2 weeks after the Boston Occupy movement hosted the Tarak Mahana support group in their tent city, who is identified by theblaze.com as a terrorist currently being tried on charges of conspiracy to commit jihadist murder. International agenda. 53 member countries of the former British Empire will be called together in a meeting next week, where they will be asked to repeal their laws forbidding homosexuality, in what is said to be an effort to reduce the number of AIDS cases in the world. The biennial Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting will be held in Perth, Australia, where the 42 countries that still outlaw homosexuality will be specifically lobbied to change their existing sodomy laws. The Associated Press says the Commonwealth Forum represents 30% of the world's population, but over 60% of the world's HIV/AIDS cases, a problem the Australian Federation of AIDS Organizations Executive Director Rob Lakes says is a result of laws illegalizing homosexual activity. He says, quote, they create a stigmatizing environment in which gay men hide what they do and who they are, so they don't access diagnosis for HIV treatment or preventative measures, end quote. You can read more about the upcoming international meeting on our resource page by clicking the link right outside the screen. Stay with us. We'll be back in just a few seconds.
Catholic News Roundup is brought to you in part by NewOxfordReview.org, the voice of Catholic Orthodoxy, in print and on the web, and RenewAmerica.com, expanding the influence of America's grassroots in the cause of freedom.
A question of truth. Police say they are searching for the culprits of what is being called vandalism in Illinois after homosexual activists threw bricks with messages through the windows of a Christian building hosting an anti-homosexual speaker at their banquet. Peter LaBarbera, founder of Americans for Truth About Homosexuality, or AFTA, the group hosting the event, wonders if the crime should be investigated only as vandalism, saying, quote, it seems that if this were a crime against homosexuals, that this would be prosecuted as a hate crime. But when Christians are the victims of hate, there's not much talk about that, end quote. OneNewsNow.com says aside from the bricks being labeled with threats, a left-wing group taking responsibility for the attack says the broken windows are, quote, just a sample of what they will do if AFTA's event is not shut down. A complaint about the attack is being filed with the FBI. You can read more about this story on our resource page by clicking the link right over here. Compromising Cain. Herman Cain may be a little more pliable than he presents himself when it comes to the abortion issue, brought to light in an interview with CNN's Piers Morgan. Cain began the interview with a set stance, saying life begins at conception and abortion should not be performed under any circumstances. However, he buckled when probed about abortion in the case of rape or incest if it occurred to a family member, saying, quote, "I can have an issue on an opinion without it being a directive on the nation. The government shouldn't be trying to tell people everything to do, especially when it comes to social decisions that they need to make," end quote. Politico.com observes he has not said what he would do as president yet, but he will inevitably be pressed further on the abortion issue further down the campaign trail. I'm Matthew McAuliffe. Thanks for tuning in today. Be sure and tune in tomorrow for your daily dose of Catholic News Roundup right here on RealCatholicTV.com. And be sure to check out The Vortex today, where Michael asks the question, how is the new evangelization actually going to work? Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tell all your friends about us. And as always, God bless you.